Hi everyone. So today we're going to discuss about guided actions in Adobe Acrobat Pro. And when I say guided actions, it's more about think about the things that you do every single day on Adobe Acrobat Pro on different documents. Say, protecting the documents or converting the documents from Word to PDF or PDF to Excel, or I don't know, compressing the documents, or anything and everything that you can think about that you do every single day on Adobe Acrobat Pro. If you think those tasks are repeated and you have to do it every single day or multiple times a day or on multiple documents a day, guided actions can be a life-changing, time-saving tool for you, wherein you can automate those processes with a couple of seconds. And one setup, you can reuse those workflows or the tasks or the actions that you saved to get those work done faster every single day, right? So that's exactly what we're going to discuss today. So let's jump right in. Guided action. So what I'm going to do here, let me go back to the home page first. So I am in Adobe Acrobat Pro DC latest version. Um, this is the version that you can see on the screen, 2025. And all you need to do to be able to access guided actions is when you are on home page, which is this button, you click on the button on the top right hand side, which says see all tools. So you basically want to see all the tools that Adobe Acrobat Pro has to offer. And then you will see different categories. The tools are beautifully divided in different categories that you can think of, like editing documents, converting documents, and whatnot. We'll keep on scrolling down. And the one that we need, the category that we need is prepare. So preparing our documents. And the exact tool we're looking for is use guided actions. So that's what we're going to click on. Now, when you click on this, you will see some of these actions which are pre-built. So I'm going to quickly delete the ones that I created for the purpose of testing so that you can see only the one which comes shipped with Adobe Acrobat Pro. So these are those six action sets which ships with Adobe Acrobat Pro that you can get started with. Now, let's take a step back and maybe dissect one or two of these and see what guided actions really are and how they can help you, right? So for example, what I want to do here is say I want to click on prepare for distribution. So what does that mean if I want to prepare a document for distribution, right? So let's click on that. And when you click on this, it says on the left hand side, it guides you with the steps that you need to take. So the first thing it says, hey, where are those files that you want to process? So click on add files, and then it's going to give you a couple of options. Do you want to add all the files, or do you want to add the whole folder? So maybe there are like hundreds of files within that folder and you want to batch process them. Is that what you want? Is the file coming from a scanner? Is it a web page? Are you combining documents into combining multiple documents into one PDF and then process it? Or is it something that you copied over? Most probably, if you're doing some sort of like actions or batch processing, maybe you would want to do add files or add folder, but it's good to know that there are other options as well, right? So in this case, what I want to do is click on add files, and then I want to choose the files that I would want to select. So for example, what I want to do is there are two reports that I'm working on. So I'll click on both of them. So you can do press and hold command key or control key on Windows and select all the files that you need, or you can do it one after the other. So both the options are fine. Or you can even do control A and select all the files that you want, right? So control A on Windows and command A on Mac. So for this purpose of this demo, I'm just going to click on these two documents and select these two files as my target documents to process. And what are the next steps? The next step is only to click on the start button that you see on the bottom of the screen. But before I click on the start button, let's do a little bit more investigation of what exactly this guided action is going to do for me, right? So it says it is going to clean up. So what cleanup it's going to do? It's going to hide the information. It's going to find the hidden information and remove it. So hidden informations are things like, say, maybe there are some metadata that shouldn't be visible. Metadata is the information about the document, for example, the author of the document and whatnot. And maybe there's some, say, I don't know, say there's some text which is being overlapped. So it's like hidden behind another text or behind another image. And you did it for the purpose of hiding it, but you're not actually hiding it. So this is going to hide that, remove that hidden information for you. And it's going to basically kind of sanitize the document for you, if you will, right? So of course, that's what you want to do if you are preparing the document for distribution. The other thing it says on the screen, and right now it shows as grayed out because you can't really edit them. You can only skip any of these steps if you want, but you will see them working in action once I click on the start button. So the other thing that I see here is maybe you want to add a watermark. So maybe like put your brand logo on every single page so that it's not being copied and reused, something on those lines. And you can also do header and footer. If you want to do that, maybe put page numbers on all the documents so that it looks nice. Or maybe like name of the document or whatever. So all these steps are going to be performed. And if you choose to skip any of these steps, all you need to do is click on the three dot and say, hey, of course, the action has all those three steps, but I want this single step to be skipped for the purpose of what we're trying to do right now. So let's just click on the three dot and say skip this step, which is fine. And right now you'll see the cleanup will happen, adding of the watermark will happen, but this is going to skip the step of header and footer. Okay, so let's do this. I am going to click on the start button, and it says this operation requires Acrobat to have write access on the file system, which is fine. Let's click allow. So you see, what does it do here? It says, hey, these are the hidden information that I see in your document. So there are like metadata, which is information about the file, author name, when was it created, what tool was it used to create the document. So those are things which are kind of hidden, and they travel along with the document. So maybe that's what you want to get rid of before you make that document public or even send it to your clients or whatever. And if there are any file attachments or maybe embedded text or any comments or markups, right? So in Acrobat, if you view one of my videos in the series of Acrobat sessions that we're doing, and you can click on the playlist in the description or on the top right hand side of the screen at the end of the video, which is the Acrobat series that I'm creating for you guys to become more productive and save time. One of the videos talk about commenting and marking up on the Acrobat documents and how you can use Acrobat to send documents for review and collaborate with each other. And say that's what you've done on this document. You've like recreated and you've made some edits, but after collaborating with your team members or with your clients or vendor, and then before you send that final document out to publish, you want to make sure that all those comments and markups that you've been doing with your teams and yourself are removed, right? So you can see all those things that are not supposed to or shouldn't go with the document, they are already checked. If for any reason that you see, no, this thing should go with the document. So for example, you have attached some of the files with PDF. So PDFs can attach files if you don't know that. And I can show that to you in one of the next videos. But say for the purpose of actually sending it out, you have attached another file with the PDF and you want it to be staying there. Of course, you will disable that link so that doesn't get removed, right? So that being said, let's just click on the OK button and let it do the magic. You'll see at the bottom right hand side of the screen, it is doing its own things. So that step number one is done. As you can see, the check mark here. So removing of the hidden information is all gone. And now the next step, which is adding the watermark. So maybe say this is a confidential document. and I'm putting it as a text. You can put it as a logo, as a file, if you have like your company logo or whatever that you want to put in there. I'm just going to use a simple text, and I'm going to give it a size of, let's try something bigger, 72. Let's give it an angle. Let's reduce the opacity a bit so that it looks like a watermark and people can see through easily. And yeah, I think that that looks fine. And maybe that's exactly what I want to put on every single page of all the files that I'm processing, right? So to be able to do this every single time, it's going to take you a long time, but because you're doing it through actions, it is going to do that for you, right, in batch. So that looks great. I'm going to click on OK to the step number 2, which is adding of the watermark. And I'll just say OK. And it says, where do you want to save this file? So I'll just save this file in the converted documents. And I'm going to say this is a processed file. Same is the case for the document number 2. What do you want to remove? What do you want to keep? Press OK. So you see how it's processing all those steps in batch for all the documents that you've selected. And it's doing that thing for you so that you don't have to remember every single step. There's no worry of forgetting any of these steps. And you can simply do that again and again. In this case, maybe what I want to do is change the color from black to white because it will look a little bit more visible. I can increase the opacity a bit more, and then I'll say OK. And let's save this in the converted folder again, and I will say processed. There you go. So that's all you need to be able to follow and complete and use any existing actions, right? But now the question arises, I mean, Adobe has offered and gets shipped with these 6 pre-built actions, which is great. But what if these actions does not suffice, does not fulfill what I need to do in my daily tasks? What is it that I can do to create my own custom tasks, my own custom guided actions, and how can I create those from scratch? So let's have a look at that. So again, in order to do that, you will go into, of course, homepage. You will click on See All Tools. You will scroll down to the bottom. You will click on Use Guided Actions again. And this time, rather than clicking on any of these existing actions, you will click on the Actions button on the bottom left-hand side, middle left-hand side of the screen. And when you click on Actions, it's going to say, do you want to create a new action? Exactly, that's what we want to do. So let's click on New Action, and it's going to pop up a new window for you. And now all the actions or all the steps that you can include in your guided action series, they are all categorized in different logical categories. So that's easy for you to find and make a decision. So for example, let's quickly review a few categories. For example, if you click on content, so all the things that you can do related to content, like creating a content summary or adding text, adding image, adding attachment, right? All of that is there. Maybe protection, so encrypting a document or redacting a document, so, or removing hidden information that you just saw. All of this is in the protection category, right? So I would encourage you to review all these categories and see what all those steps are available. And depending on what kind of tasks that you have to do every single day, of course, you can make a decision of what series of steps you want to add in here. So for me, I want to prepare for distribution, but when I prepare for documents for distribution, there are a couple of things that I do. I work with a lot of scanned documents. So the first thing I want to do is I want to add OCR. I want to run OCR in there. So optical character recognition is one of the features of Adobe Acrobat that you can run by clicking on optimizing scans. But what if you have to do it in a series of workflow? This is where you go and you add it as a step and you select it, and then you click on this plus button to add it to the right hand side panel. So the right side of the panel basically shows you what your final guided action will look like. So it will say, hey, what are the files to process? So I will give you the option to add files, or I will give you options to add folder, or both. So whatever you want as a default, you will select that. It doesn't mean that the user can't change it or you can't change it. You can, but it basically means that this is what you're going to see as the default option, but you can click and then choose any other options as well, right? So I'll leave that on add files, which is great. And the first step that you see below, because we just added that, the first step we see is recognize text using OCR. And there are a couple of things you can do here. One thing that you can do is you can leave the prompt user on. And what it really means is it is going to ask you for those custom settings to be chosen every single time, and every single time a file is being processed. Similar to how you saw a moment ago, how it was popping up and asking you, hey, what metadata do you want to remove? Or do you want to remove the file attachment? Or do you want to what text do you want to add as a watermark, right? So it was prompting the user of the custom settings about that feature before it can process that. Maybe that's annoying for you. Maybe the purpose of automating is to really automate it so that it does not ask you any questions. And all those settings are pre-built into the action. Maybe that's what you want, right? If that's the case, then you will uncheck prompt user so that it does not prompt user, of course. But at the same time, you will click on specify settings here to bake those settings that you want it to understand and process every single time when it's recognizing the text, right? So I will not go much deep into OCR because we're going to have another dedicated session on scans and OCRs and optimizing documents, and that's exactly going to be my next video. So without going much deep into this, I'm going to leave it on the custom setting, on the default settings, but just know that there are different options for you to choose what kind of output you get when an OCR is run, right? So we'll discuss that in the next video. But for now, I'm gonna leave it to the default and say okay. So that's my step number one. The second step I wanted to do is to compress the document. So a lot of time we get those scans. Those scans are really heavy because they're more majorly images. I normally say them as dummy PDFs. And the reason why I say this is because there's basically an image inside a wrapper of a PDF. So which makes it really heavy. So what I want to do is, as a step number two, before I publish this document or the scan document, is I want to compress the document as well, right? So if I go into document processing, which seems to be the logical category for compressing the document because you're processing it, and there's this section which says reduce file size. So I'll click on this, and then I will click on the plus button to bring it on the right hand side in my action series. And again, the same thing. Do you want the user to be prompted for the settings for this feature? No, I don't want that. And I want to specify the settings right now so that they're baked in. And then the settings is, okay, if you want to compress the documents, what is your compatibility should be. So I would say just retain the existing capability of the Acrobat version that it already has and just compress the document for me, okay? And then the last thing that I want to do here in my series of actions is to protect the document because these are some financial documents, say for example, or some reports about the company that I'm publishing and putting online. And I don't want anyone out there to be able to edit the document and change the numbers or the content and show or put misinformation out there in the world about my company or about my project or whatever I'm trying to do. So I want to make sure that anyone and everyone is able to view the document without any password, but they should not be able to edit it. They should be asked for a password if they try to edit the document. That's what I want to do. I want to encrypt the document with a password, right? So in the protection category, I will click on encrypt. I will click on the plus button to bring it on the right hand side. The same story. I'm going to uncheck the prompt user. And there's nothing wrong, by the way, there's nothing wrong with leaving the prompt user on if that's the way you want it to be. If you want it to ask you every single time it's running that feature, it's perfectly fine. For me personally, I want those settings to be baked in so that it's really automated and it does not ask me any question when I'm trying to run it, if that makes sense, right? So let's specify the settings for this one as well. Encrypt, specify settings. How do you want to encrypt it? You can use a certificate or you can use a password. There are different ways to do it. I just wanted to keep it simple and choose password security. And we will go through another in-depth video about how do you encrypt a document, what are the things that goes into um, securing a document. But let's just keep it simple for the purpose of this demo, which is guided actions. You will see it says, hey, do you want to put a password when you're trying to open a document? No, I'm not. Then it says, hey, do you want to restrict editing and printing of the document? A password will be required when if there's somebody who's trying to change any of these things, right? That's exactly what I want. I don't want the password for opening the document. I want the password if someone is trying to edit the document. And then I will leave all the default settings to whatever they are right now. As I said, I will talk about this in a follow-up video in detail. But one thing that I need to do here is to put some sort of password here and say, and I need to make sure that I remember that password, right? So just know that if you forget this password, you cannot go back to Adobe and say, hey, Adobe, I forgot the password to this document. I need to edit it. Can you unlock it? There's no way to do it. You need to make sure that you remember the password, okay? So I'm going to put a very simple password just for the purpose of this demo. It says it's weak. I know, that's fine. And I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to say, okay. And it's going to say, retype in that password one more time so that I can ensure that you remember it. And then you can see it says, please confirm the password. Make sure that you make a note of it. You will need it to change the settings in future, right? So just know that this is important for you to remember the password. Let's say okay, let's say close. So say these are the only 3 settings that I want to perform in my documents every single day. And I'm happy with the settings. I will say save. It's going to say, what do you want to name it so that you can recognize this? And I'm going to say before distribution. And I'm just going to give it my name. I'm just going to give it my name so that I can recognize that this is my custom action, or you can just call it custom, whatever you want to name it, right? And then you can put some sort of description. If you're creating tons and tons of actions, you can put some sort of description so that you would know a little bit more about more than just the name. You can go in there and you can read the description, what that action is meant for. And then you'll hit save and you'll say okay. And then I can close this. I'm going to close Acrobat and I'm going to open up Acrobat again and go into all tools, guided action, and there is your custom action that you just created on the top left hand side of the screen before distribution custom. And again, like we did before, all you need to do is click on the action itself. You will see all those 3 actions that you just created. If you want to skip any one of those, you can click here and say skip this step. But this time I want to continue and do all these 3 steps. And then what I want to do here is let me bring one of the scan documents so that I can make you see it in action. Okay, let's put it here. So say this is a scanned image that I've scanned from a piece of paper, and I want to run all those steps that I've created before I make this document public. So that's all great. I'm going to go back here and say add files. Now again, either I can add folder. I can say, hey, add this entire folder and whatever all the files are in there, just do that for all the files. Or I can be specific and I can say add files. And then I can say this, this, and this. Whatever files you want to choose, you can choose those files for it to be worked upon. So I'm going to choose one of the image document and I'm going to choose one of the PDF documents. Maybe this is like a dummy scanned PDF document that I spoke about, which is like an image within the PDF, right? So you can select multiple documents, doesn't matter how many you choose, and just say select. All those files will show up on the left hand side, and you can see one thing that you must have noticed, that it does not have to be a PDF document for the files to be processed. It can even be an image document like this, right? And what I want to do here is I want to quickly okay, one thing that I forgot to mention, which is very important. I mean, it is going to, if you keep on doing this like the way it is of course going to convert and complete all those steps, but it is going to give you all those documents in Acrobat opened up for you to save them manually, right? So one thing that I forget, and which is a good thing that I forgot this, because it makes it more important for me to tell you that you don't forget that step. Otherwise, it's going to do the job for you, but it's not going to save the documents where you want them to be saved, right? So let's just go back one step before we process this and go into guided actions. And I'm going to use the existing custom action that you created and click on edit to be able to edit and further make changes in that custom setting, custom actions, right? So click on the three dots, edit, the same window will pop up. And the one thing that I forgot to do is, of course, to save the document. So once all of this is done, of course, you want that new document to be saved somewhere. So go into save and export, click on save, click on the plus button, and you can specify the settings, or you can click on the OK button and say, do you want to save it to a local folder, or do you want to save it as, and it's going, if you save as, it's going to ask you where do you want to save it. So there'll be a pop-up. If you don't want that, you can simply say save to a local folder, and then you can be specific where do you want it to be saved. So I'm going to save it in the converted folder for myself. And then you can be specific in the settings of how do you want that files to be saved. If you click on specify settings, do you want to keep the original file names, or do you want to edit and maybe insert something before or after the file name, or do you want to save it as a PDF, or do you want to convert the document into another format, right? So you can think of the save command as a conversion command as well. So maybe there are a bunch of PDF documents that you need to convert into Word or Excel or PowerPoint, or maybe there are a bunch of PowerPoint documents that you need to convert into PDF in one go. You can use this. You can use this action to be able to do the conversion as well, right? In this case, I'm just gonna save everything as PDF, so which is great, and I'll just say OK, and I'll say save. And now my action is complete. So if I click on it now, you will see that there's an option for save right there at the bottom. Okay, so add files again, add file. I'm going to select a bunch of files from here, and I'm going to say select, and then I'm going to click on start, and I'm going to allow the for Acrobat to be able to write on my file system, allow, and you will see it's not going to ask me any single question. It is just going to do the job. All three steps are happening automatically behind the scenes. It is running OCR, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. It is fixing the document. It is it is compressing the document for you, and it is also putting passwords so that users are not able to edit. Users are not able to edit the document, right? So it's doing all those three things for you on all those 3 or 5 documents, or whatever number of documents that you've selected for you. And you can take a break, you can go out there, and you can see right now it says reducing the PDF file size at the bottom of the screen. And you can simply just start and go out there, make a coffee for yourself, while Acrobat is working hard for you on all those documents, right? So that's the power of Adobe Acrobat Pro guided actions. And once this is all done, you will see checkboxes, the green checkboxes in front of each document. If any of these documents is not done, you will see a red mark and you'll see why it's not done. Maybe there was an issue that maybe the file was corrupt or whatever. But if you see all the green checkboxes and all the green checkboxes here, then you're sure that all the file has been converted. You can see the full report of the action, or you can simply say done. And now what I want to do is I want to go back to my converted folder. I want to see one of these files. So guided action was the image. If you remember, this was an image document that I gave it to. And now it's been converted into a PDF, as you can see. And if I open this up, if I open this PDF document up, I can see this is secured, as you can see up there on the top of the screen. And if I try to edit the documents, it's going to say, hey, give me the password. If you're the owner of the document, give me the password. Only then I would let you edit the document. So that is the power of using guided actions. I would highly encourage you to review this. If you use Acrobat day in, day out, this is going to be a lifesaver and time saver for you guys. But that's all from my side for today. In the next video, we're going to talk about how you can work with the scan document. So we'll talk about in depth of different outputs that you can get when you're working and optimizing scans, maybe cleaning the documents. Sometimes you use some scan documents where there are some patches on the background, it doesn't look great, or the document is crooked a bit, or that it's not text ready and it's like a dummy PDF that I mentioned before. What are the things that you can do to optimize that scan so that you're able to use and archive it for a long time? That's exactly what we're going to talk in the next video. If you like this video, please click on the like button if you want to see more of these videos, because we are creating a whole series of all the possible features that you can think of in Adobe Acrobat Pro and other Adobe applications like Photoshop, Lightroom, Premiere Pro, Illustrator, InDesign. Please subscribe this channel to see more such videos and share the video, put some comments. If there is any question or any specific feature that you want to see in the next video, please put that in the comment section and I will definitely pick that up and answer the question or do the video in the next one. Until then, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye. Have a good day.